Mark 15. And as soon as it was morning, the chief priests held a consultation with the elders and the scribes and the whole council. And they bound Jesus and led him away and delivered him over to Pilate. Tan pronto como amaneció, los jefes de los sacerdotes con los ancianos, los maestros de la ley y el consejo en pleno llegaron a una decisión. Ataron a Jesús, se lo llevaron y se lo entregaron a Pilato. And Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" And he answered him, "You have said so." "¿Eres tú el rey de los judíos?" le preguntó Pilato. "Tú mismo lo dices," respondió. And the chief priests accused him of many things. Los jefes de los sacerdotes se pusieron a acusarlo de muchas cosas. And Pilate again asked him, "Have you no answer to make? See how many charges they bring against you." "¿No vas a contestar?" le preguntó de nuevo Pilato. "Mira de cuántas cosas te están acusando." But Jesus made no further answer, so Pilate was amazed. Pero Jesús ni aun con eso contestó nada, de modo que Pilato se quedó asombrado. Now at the feast he used to release for one prisoner for whom they asked. Ahora bien, durante la fiesta él acostumbraba soltarles un preso, el que la gente pidiera. And among the rebels in prison who had committed murder in the insurrection there was a man called Barabbas. Y resulta que un hombre llamado Barabbas estaba encarcelado con los rebeldes, condenados por haber cometido homicidio en una insurrección. And the crowd came up and began to ask Pilate to do as he usually did for them. Subió la multitud y le pidió a Pilato que le concediera lo que acostumbraba. And he answered them, saying, "Do you want me to release for you the king of the Jews?" "¿Quieren que le suelte a rey de los judíos?" replicó Pilato. For he perceived that it was out of envy that the chief priest had delivered him up. Porque se daba cuenta de que los jefes de los sacerdotes habían entregado a Jesús por envidia. But the chief priest stirred up the crowd to have him release for them Barabbas instead. Pero los jefes de los sacerdotes incitaron a la multitud para que Pilato le soltara más bien a Barabbas. And Pilate again said to them, "Then what shall I do with the man you call the king of the Jews?" "¿Y qué voy a hacer con el que ustedes llaman el rey de los judíos?" les preguntó Pilato. And they cried out again, "Crucify him!" "Crucificalo!" gritaron. And Pilate said to them, "Why, what evil has he done?" But they shouted all the more, "Crucify him!" "¿Por qué? ¿Qué crimen ha cometido? Crucificalo!" So Pilate, wishing to satisfy the crowd, released for them Barabbas, and having scourged Jesus, he delivered him to be crucified. Como quiera satisfacer a la multitud, Pilato les soltó a Barabbas. A Jesús lo mandó azotar y lo entregó para que lo crucificaran. And the soldiers led him away inside the palace, that is, the governor's headquarters, and they called together the whole battalion. Los soldados llevaron a Jesús al interior del palacio, es decir, al pretorio, y reunieron a toda la tropa. And they clothed him in a purple cloak, and twisted together a crown of thorns. They put it on him. Le pusieron un manto de color púrpura. Luego trenzaron una corona de espinas y se la colocaron. And they began to salute him. Hail, King of the Jews! Salve, Rey de los Judíos! Lo aclamaban. And they were striking his head with a reed and spitting on him and kneeling down in homage to him. Lo golpeaban en la cabeza con una caña y le escupían. Doblando la rodilla le rendían homenaje. And they mocked him. They stripped him of the purple cloak and put on his clothes, and they led him out to crucify him. Después de burlarse de él, le quitaron el manto y le pusieron su propia ropa. Por fin lo sacaron para crucificarlo. And they compelled a passerby, Simon of Cyrene, who was coming in from the country, the father of Alexander and Rufus, to carry his cross. A uno que pasaba por allí de vuelta del campo, un tal Simón de Cirene, padre de Alejandro y de Rufo, lo obligaron a llevar la cruz. And they brought him to a place called Golgotha, which means the place of a skull. Condujeron a Jesús al lugar llamado Golgotha, que significa lugar de la calavera. And they offered him wine mixed with myrrh, but he did not take it. Lo ofrecieron vino mezclado con mirra, pero no lo tomó. And they crucified him and divided his garments among them, casting lots for them to decide what each should take. Y lo crucificaron, repartieron su ropa, echando suertes para ver que la tocaría a cada uno. And it was the third hour when they crucified him. Eran las 9 de la mañana cuando la crucificaron. And the inscription of the charge against him read, "The King of the Jews." Un letrero tenía escrito la causa de su condena, "El Rey de los Judíos." And with him they crucified 2 robbers, one on his right and one on his left. Con él crucificaron a 2 bandidos, uno a su derecha y otro a su izquierda. And those who passed by derided him, wagging their heads and saying, "Aha! You would destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days." Los que pasaban meneaban la cabeza y blasfemaban contra él. Tú que destruyes y el templo y en 3 días lo reconstruyes, decían, "Save yourself and come down from the cross. Baja de la cruz y sálvate a ti mismo." So also the chief priests with the scribes mocked him to one another, saying, He saved others, he cannot save himself. De la misma manera se burlaban de él los jefes de los sacerdotes junto con los maestros de la ley, salvo a otros, decían, pero no puede salvarse a sí mismo. Let the Christ, the King of Israel, come down now from the cross, that we may see and believe. Those who were crucified with him also reviled him. Que baje ahora de la cruz este Cristo, el Rey de Israel, para que veamos y creamos. And when the 6th hour had come, there was darkness over the whole land until the 9th hour. Desde el mediodía y hasta la media tarde quedó toda la tierra en oscuridad. At the 9th hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani, which means, my God, why have you forsaken me? A las 3 de la tarde, Jesús gritó a voz en cuello, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, que significa, Dios mío, ¿por qué me has desamparado? And some of the bystanders, hearing it, said, Behold, he is calling Elijah. Cuando lo oyeron, algunos de los que estaban cerca dijeron, Escuchen esta llamado a Elías. And someone ran and filled a sponge with sour wine, put it on a reed, and gave it to him to drink, saying, Wait, let us see whether Elijah will come to take him down. Un hombre corrió, empapó una esponja en vinagre. La puso en una caña y se la ofreció a Jesús para que bebiera. Déjenlo a ver si viene Elías a beberlo, dijo. And Jesus uttered a loud cry and breathed his last. Entonces Jesús, lanzando un fuerte grito, expiró. And the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. La cortina del santuario del templo se rasgó en dos, de arriba abajo. And when the centurion who stood facing him saw in this way, he breathed his last. He said, Truly this man was the Son of God. Y el centurión que estaba frente a Jesús, al oír el grito, ver cómo murió, dijo, Verdaderamente este hombre era el Hijo de Dios. There was also women looking on from a distance, among whom were Mary Magdalene and Mary the mother of James, the younger, and of Joses, and Salome. Algunas mujeres miraban desde lejos. Entre ellas estaban María Magdalena, María la madre de Jacobo y el menor de José, y Salome. When he was in Galilee, they followed him and ministered to him. There were also many other women who came up with him to Jerusalem. Estas mujeres lo habían seguido a entendido cuando estaba en Galilea. Además, había allí muchas otras que habían subido con él a Jerusalén. And when the evening had come, since it was the day of preparation, that is, the day before the Sabbath, Era el día de preparación, es decir, la víspera del sábado, así que al atardecer, Joseph of Arimathea, a respected member of the council, who was also himself looking for the kingdom of God, took courage and went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. José de Arimathea, miembro distinguido del consejo, y que también esperaba el reino de Dios, se atrevió a presentarse ante Pilato para pedirle el cuerpo de Jesús. And Pilate was surprised to hear that he should have already died, and summoning the centurion, he asked him whether he was already dead. Pilato, sorprendido de que ya hubiera muerto, llamó al centurión y le preguntó si hacía mucho que había muerto. And when he learned from the centurion that he was dead, he granted the corpse to Joseph. Una vez informado por el centurión, le entregó el cuerpo a José. And Joseph bought a linen shroud, and taking him down, wrapped him in the linen shroud, and laid him in a tomb that had been cut out of the rock. And he rolled a stone against the entrance of the tomb. Entonces José bajó el cuerpo, lo envolvió en una sábana que había comprado, y lo puso en el sepulcro cavado en la roca. Luego hizo rodar una piedra a la entrada del sepulcro. Mary Magdalene, and Mary, the mother of José, saw where he was laid. María Magdalena y María la madre de José vieron donde la pusieron.